Welcome to the Vibes del Alma podcast with Ashley. Woo! So I put a part 1 for my birth experience, and now I'm gonna do a part 2 of my birth experience. And I kind of re-listened to the first part just to kind of get a gauge of what I talked about. And I might repeat things here as well, but I'm gonna focus a little bit more on the death that I experienced giving birth, the spiritual aspects of giving birth for me, and I'm also a lot more embodied in the experience. I still have a ways to go. I don't think I will ever completely embody, or maybe I will. I still have a ways to go to continue embodying and digesting what happened, but I feel a lot more rooted in not only the story behind it, but also what I went through physically and spiritually now that I'm about to be 6 months postpartum. So I just wanted to share a little bit more about that. So birth itself felt like a ritual, felt like a ceremony, like those earth-based ceremonies. Also, my baby's playing with something in the background, so you might hear some random noises here and there. That's just her playing with stuff. May she be protected and blessed by el manto sagrado de la Virgen María. Now I'm just defaulting to basic Puerto Rican grandma stuff. But anyways, damn, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so that's another thing. Now I'm mom brain and I just forget about things. And literally yesterday I took her, just as an example real quick, I took a bag of diapers and then I put it in the recycling can that we have instead of the trash can. And my husband this morning's like, hey Ashley, did you notice that you put the diapers in the recycling? And I was like, oh, my bad, sorry. So that's my life now, but it's okay. Apparently I have 2 years of this, and then my brains will come back to somewhat normal. I don't think they'll ever come back to normal. I am embodying and claiming my ditzy self. It's okay. It adds to my personality. So I've done different earth-based rituals and ceremonies. I haven't done a lot. I've done a few. I've done San Pedro, and I've done temazcales, and then I also did an animal medicine cambo. So those are the 3 primitive experiences that I have been a part of before I gave birth. And all of the experiences, and in those experiences, or differently, I've also done hape. So it's 4, I guess. But hape, there was one time that I did it with cacao. There was another, and then before I did cambo, as a way to ground myself. That was the intention of the use for hape at that moment, as a way to ground myself and clear anything. We started with hape and then went into the cambo ceremony. So I think it's been 4 primitive practices that I've done. I've also done sananga, but even though it's primitive, it's a different type of experience. So anyways, the ones that I really want to focus on are just the temazcal, the San Pedro, and the cambo ceremony in itself. So those 3 ceremonies took my body physically, honestly, out of time and space. I have no idea how long those ceremonies took. I had to be in the present moment, and I had to ride the wave and be, focused on the now. I had to be focused on the now with the temazcal, with the San Pedro, and with the cambo. And I experienced that same out of time situationship when I was giving birth. So that was interesting to see, that correlation, because birth is something that is sacred, and sadly sometimes it's not given that name, it's not given that space. Regardless of what you believe, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in higher power, whether you are in a box, in a label or not. Like, giving birth is a very sacred experience. It's something that cannot be explained. Like, I can explain that it feels like it's out of time and space, but unless you go through something like that, you won't really comprehend what I'm talking about. And that's okay, that's fine. Because a lot of the things that I would study regarding pregnancy and regarding birth, like, I was learning them intellectually, but I had no idea what was coming. Like, on a soul level, on a physical level, I had no idea what was going to come up. So to an extent, even if you just know it on an intellectual level, it's still preparation. And then just like, oh, this is what is supposed to be happening. I remember hearing about this. Okay, it makes sense. I'm gonna go full send on this. So it's totally okay. It doesn't matter what level you're learning things or you understand things. Hearing it opens up a doorway for you to be able to create more neural connections regarding a specific topic, a specific idea, and it's just gonna continue integrating from there. With cards, I also enter a slightly different state, and it's not necessarily out of time, even though I can feel like I'm in a flow, but it's still somewhat of an elevated dimension whenever I am channeling or whenever I'm reading cards. So I had that experience again when I was giving birth. So it was something that was recognizable for me. It was something that was comfortable for me. It was something that I have felt many times before. And it was something that I just didn't question, like being in that state of being outside of time, of being in a different, somewhat dimensional feeling, kind of like heart opening, kind of like you feel that you're connected, like things are happening, but they're not happening. Like it can also be kind of like out of body experience, but I was pretty much very aware of everything. But anyways, with my pregnancy, my dreams have amped up, and it hasn't come back down. It's continued to be amped up, and it has inspired me to look back at the dreams that I have recorded since 2021. I do have recordings of my dreams since 2020, so I can also go back to that year, but I've started to look at the dreams that I've had from 2021, and then that I have dreamt of multiple things that have come to fruition. There are some dreams that I have that are premonitions, and there are some dreams that I have that are just my subconscious trying to work things out or show me, hey, this is what you need to work on, to work through, to heal. So now looking back at my dreams, I'm starting to learn how to differentiate between a premonition and something to work on for my soul. But the point is, I dreamt about my hemorrhaging. And I already talked about this when I was pregnant. In the episode that I sent out when I was pregnant, I talked about this in part 1 of the birth experience. And now I'm going to bring a different perspective. I had premonitions given to me by my spiritual team, by my honorable ancestors, letting me know, hey, this is what's going to happen and you're going to be okay. And if it wasn't because of those dreams, I would have freaked out. And I wouldn't have been as calm as I was when I was dying in the hospital. And it was because I knew that I was going to be okay. In all of those dreams, the common thread was I was bleeding out and I was calm and I trusted that everything was fine, and I surrendered. I surrendered to my experience, and I surrendered to the fact that I was going through that. And the level of surrender and trust that I had when I was dying in the hospital is unmatched, is insane. Everybody around me was crying, was freaking out. And I was like, I'm fine, guys. It's like, I'm like over here. I'm over here with 2 transfusions of blood, and I'm like, I'm okay. On the outside looking in, it's like, you're not okay. But like, I was fine, and I trusted that I was fine. So I know that it was because I was prepared, because my honorable ancestors, benevolent, elevated spirits were like telling me, hey, Ashley, this is what's gonna happen and you're gonna be fine. I know that that's the reason why I was able to stay calm, cool, and collected, and I was able to reserve my energy to stay alive. Because to the level that I got was insane. Like the level that I got when it came to like how much I bled and to the state that I was in, like it was actually pretty insane. Like the primary nurse that was taking care of me was like, I don't know how you've been able to stay conscious with your blood levels, with this, that. Like I have no idea how you stayed conscious for this long. Like why didn't you faint sooner? Why didn't you lose consciousness sooner? And it was because of the fact that I trusted, I was supported. I had angels around me, I had my honorable ancestors around me. I'm gonna give a shout out to my little cacique, my chief. Like he was there protecting me the whole time. Like I don't know what I did. I don't know what my ancestors did, but don't mess with my lineage because we protected. So anyways, I lost consciousness and therefore I died. I didn't have a defined medical death, but I did leave and then I was brought back. And it was a fear that I had, but the fear wasn't because I was actually afraid of bleeding out, because that's never been something that I thought about until I was pregnant. That was me knowing that it was going to happen to me. And then I had dreams that helped me calm down, because it's like, okay, even though this is going to happen, Ashley, you're going to be fine. So I just want to put that out there. That was the relationship that I had. And, you know, not everybody goes through the same experience. Not everybody goes through the same thing. But that's what happened to me. And because I was right there with death, I was further blessed to be able to continue being a bridge between worlds. To be able to continue receiving dreams. And to also be able to learn the power that I hold. Because I know that happened to me, so I can heal the pain that my ancestors felt when they did pass away from that experience. And not only did I go through that, but my child went through that. And my child survived to also heal her ancestors. And whoever went through what she went through and wasn't able to make it earthside. And it was our combination, our sacred combination, that helped heal our ancestral lineage for generations to come when it came to this. And that's something that I value, that I honor, that I appreciate. And I'm very grateful for. It was a big responsibility. But our ancestors, my spiritual team, prepped the both of us well enough to be able to survive and make it to the other side. And by make it to the other side, it's just to stay here, like to stay alive. Now, as I continue healing and continue integrating things and continue adjusting to this new life with this beautiful little baby, things are definitely simmering and warming up, and eventually I'll have a cauldron of soup or whatever to be able to share, with the world in different ways, and we'll see how that looks like. Yes, girl, you play that thing. So we'll see how that looks like, and we'll see what comes forth from all of this. But yeah, this is gonna be like a shorter little recap about the birth and a little bit of information on that. because I didn't want to just list of all the facts of what happened and whatnot, and that's the part that I think I kind of left out, the fact that I was gone. And it's definitely there's definitely details there that are a little bit hard to swallow. Something that my parents went through watching all that go down, what my husband went through watching all that go down, because he was definitely there in the front lines, from the beginning all the way to the end of the situation. So they definitely went through a lot, because there's things that I don't remember that they saw. That was pretty harsh, but thankfully we're all good. I don't know what they're doing to make amends with all that, but we're here, we're living, we're progressing, we're growing, and that's part 2 of the little birth experience. And yeah, I'll continue sharing things here and there on YouTube when the inspiration strikes. Thank you for listening, and until next time, y'all.